Dirty.
Hey yo, Chino.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Dirty.
Play this record as frequently
Dirty.
as possible.
Oh, dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty. Dirty. Me and my niggas get dirty. When any of these niggas wanna get delirious like Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Hercules.
Ain't showing that kitty no mercy. Fuck the 3 exes, no one neglected. Brother the turkey. Yeah, brother the turkey, Welcome back, Royal Nation, to another installment of Royal View. I'm your host, Chino Royale, baby. And we are doing this to get an insight on the uniqueness of all the kings and queens and their own worth. And I am here with Mr. Who are you, sir?
Midnight Swami.
Like said exactly like that? Swami.
Okay.
Okay. How you doing,
or,
man?
Or said like Midnight Swami. Like that.
Like a late night special in the 50s. Midnight Swami.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm doing good.
Dope.
I just dropped an album called Swami Season. Came out November 20th on all streaming platforms. Well, major ones. I don't know. Whatever
Okay.
United Masters puts out.
Nice. Kind of elaborate a little bit on who Midnight Swami is. How did you even get Midnight Swami as a name, man?
That story is very interesting. That goes back to my buddy Josh.
Okay.
We were. I always went by MF Kush Beats. It was something that I went by just making beats and making songs. I did a whole nother project with a roommate of mine called Paraphernalia, and that's what I went by. And my buddy was like, I was talking to him. I told him I'm working on this new music. I don't know how to feel about me going under that. I need to make a new alias or something. And he was like, let me put your name through the Wu-Tang name generator. And in like some sort of variation that I go by, Myron, Midnight Swamp. No, it wasn't that at the time. It was like MF Kush Beats. And then he types it in, he says it, and it just stuck with me. I don't know.
Swami?
Something just stuck with me, and I was like, I love it. I felt like, but what I was writing about is my goal with the music is kind of like take the darkness of what's going on in the world and like, make it a lesson. Because I talk about it in a way that's kind of like, I say what people say out there. I try to make it appealing, but then I really try to flip the script with the message, but the way I do it also is with the mix process and me making the beats and doing all of it.
That's cold, man. I kind of had like a tail-ended question to that. It's like 2 questions, but it's pretty much just like, all right, so do you like to produce more than being an artist, or do you like to do both?
I feel like at first I was torn. I didn't know.
Right.
Because I was learning, and I really enjoyed both, but I started as a producer first. I've been writing songs for a long time. I have tons of really, really shitty songs on SoundCloud under Myron Fed. I have a song called Santa Claus is Shooting Your Block Up. And it makes so bad. And I have tons of other music things that I've put out there, but yeah, I'm starting to focus more on my production. When we were downstairs earlier, I was showing him some beats that I was making on this new toy I got at the Akai Force, and been just working on new beats now because I realized with Midnight Swami, I really like the project, I really like the message, but what everybody has kind of said criticism-wise is that they really enjoy the production, but I should work on my lyricism. That is my, you know what? That's fine, but fuck you.
They're like, oh, that is great. Just take all the lyrics out, like, and then everything else is cool. That's hilarious. But okay, kind of the second question would be, since that was said like that, is what would you say your favorite project was so far?
But it does come back.
Or what brings like more memories of, like, that you felt more?
Wow. I felt like my favorite project on the album, like the most natural feeling one, was a song called Lift Off.
What made you feel that one particular thing though?
The sample. I heard a sample and I loved it. It was like a decap sample or something that I got from Splice. I like chopped it up and I was like, wow, this one reminds me of like, I don't know, like an older beat, something that you'd sample flip. But then I was like, dude, I need to put some like new hip hop drums, stuff like that, and do some really crazy stuff with the vocals. I think the most enjoyable part for me is making the music, like the production. But then a close second is mixing the vocals. And if you listen to the album in like a nice space, like a mixed environment, I really tried to play with the stereo field, play with reverb, play with the production process more than just like the vocal sounds. Like I would do really experimental vocal sounds, but not try to be too aggressive with it. It's still intelligible. It's still like you can hear what I'm saying. And I really take pride in what I do with the music part of it. That's like a big purpose as to why I want to do it. I feel like if I'm going to put something out there, it better be the best thing I could possibly do. And
Facts.
And also like I feel like my favorite project to make music on was the Swami season tape.
Okay.
I felt like my favorite project to mix, because I do a lot of mixing too, was Chili Hendrix's project.
Hey, shout out.
Shout out. Like that project was so much fun to mix because he had the direction, he had the whole idea, and it was like pass the rock. And that's what I wanted, is like, I don't have to write the songs. I can just help you get this to that place that you want it to be sonically, but then make everything still have like a cohesive sound, like it's an album. I really aimed for that. And with all the experience that I have with making music and just trying to push the boundary, I wasn't just trying to do it for myself. I realized you can't be selfish with your gift in that way. Like,
real talk.
It was still a mutual benefit. We still worked with each other, but I knew, like, I want to see that album keep growing because it was just such a fun project to work on. Like, his lyricism makes me laugh. It just makes me, like, it catches me off guard. It makes me think.
That's good, though, right?
And that's what I want, is, like, he's definitely, the goal with his music is sugar in the medicine. And I really have that way, but I feel like, everybody's appeal is different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes the combination of us really good. We have a project together called Paraphernalia that's like literally.
Is he like your sole like go-to artist? Or do you produce multiple people?
I produce for a few people. I produce for Buddy Merlot as well. I produced for quite a few people in the Fort Wayne area. Some of it worked out, some of it didn't.
Okay.
But at the same time, I really appreciated the experience, and I hope that anybody that worked with me, good or bad, learned something, because I was trying to learn something. I was trying to educate them, make them better. We just didn't come to terms with what it should have been, and I felt like, maybe I did, in a way, in both situations, kind of burn a bridge. But at the same time, I knew what was right for me. I knew that me trying to push them was not going to benefit either of us, because I knew that there was a lot of people around me that were still, like, hey, pass the rock, help me out with it, because I want to be with where the momentum is, And it's not that I don't want to help. It's that I want people to understand that they need to be prepared when they come to me, because I take it seriously. I think that it's important, if you're going to come to the studio and you're going to spend your money,
Right.
Be wise with your time and their time too. Like, I think it's very important.
It goes out to all you crazy kids trying to come into these studios thinking that you have everything ready and you ain't ready.
You ain't ready.
You ain't ready.
No.
Facts.
Right.
God.
I think it's important. You gotta build your muscles. You can't just
So when coming into the Swami den, what all do the crazy kids at home need to have ready to come into the stew?
All right. So if you come into the Swami's den and we're tracking here, I think the first thing is, if you have your beat stemmed out, please Like, if you have a 2-track, at least paid for, or like the stems. If you have the stems, please give me that.
Please own the beats too.
Yeah, like incredible. Like
Right.
if you could do that, that is the biggest thing. Secondly, be prepared. That doesn't mean that you have to have something written.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's like that, man. I understand that. And I think some people, then number 3 is communicate. Communicate what you want. Because if you come with like an idea and you come with a beat, but you don't know what you want to do with it, like even if you have rough ideas with reverb and stuff, you're like, okay, this is what I was thinking. I listen to this kind of music. I want to take elements from this, like that Travis Scott vocal, or like, I heard this song. I want to make something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I can really kind of shape a sound in that way, and that's my goal with when I work with an artist. It's not me saying I'm producing you and here's my credit. It's kind of like me listening to your music and going, okay, what could I do sonically that helps paint the picture in a different way? Because like a lot of people approach the mix with the template, and I think it's good to have a place to start, and I think it's good to be efficient, but I think that there needs to be more creativity in some of the mixing, because I love a lot of hip-hop music. I love electronic music, and I feel like some of the local music does a really good job on the lyricism, and even the production, they do a good job.
Facts.
But I felt like some of the mixing is not as creative as it could be, because if you did that extra little bit with like feeding in delays, like, or making really wide reverbs and creating different spaces, that can be the thing that takes it there, that takes you there, pushes that boundary, maybe even helps you update that template. But I think with 2020, hit me in the face. Everything really hit me in the face, just hard. And I was like, what I realized is, what can I do? And that's the question, is that everything's crazy and it's everything else around you, but what can you do to change? And I think with my music, that was the goal, is change what I'm doing, like my focus. I think even recently with just everything that's going on, I feel like I've become more successful at my job, more successful at what I do, because I learned to appreciate what I have, be grateful for the people that are around me, and challenge myself, and challenge the people around me, because sometimes if you push them, they push back, but in a way that you needed to hear, because it's like, oh, if you can step back for a second and just realize what it was and take it as what it is, versus like, getting defensive or anything like that. You could have just like realized that was the thing that changed your perception and what you're trying to do. Sometimes I'll ask people, I'll show people my music that aren't necessarily engineers or, stuff like that, just to hear what they think, because not everybody knows the terminology. Not everybody knows how to describe some things, like, oh, this could be a wider mix, or the vocal could have sat louder in the mix, or saying things like that. None of the technical stuff. People just tell me how they feel, because that's what's important, man. You're literally pushing sound pressure with electricity. How does that make you feel? If you listen to it and it makes you feel like shit, I don't want to listen to that fucking record again. Fuck that.
Right.
But if I
Real talk, though.
Right.
Real talk, though.
It's important, man. And I think we got to protect our energy out here. And also, like, can't be fighting about petty shit. We got to be...
Gotta be open to constructive criticism, guys, for real.
Right. We got to be open to constructive criticism.
Too many people out here, like, adding on to that. Like, I agree that ego is a huge thing right now, and it's always been a huge thing, especially in the world. And we need to go ahead and take everything with a grain of salt when we're moving. And I know I'm not the most wise person out here, but I'm only 23, but even I've been through my own fair share of things, and just learning rather than just fighting the stream, I'm able to actually grow more, I feel, just from listening to certain people's opinions and molding my own I guess, definitive destiny at that point.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it helps me move on rather than just me feeling like I'm in a room with the lights off and then trying to find the door. Like,
Right. There's some, that gets into a deeper question too of like, are you really thinking the thought, or are you moving through the motion of your destiny, and everything that you have presented in your path was the lesson? And if you understand what the lesson is, that's how you progress through the game.
right,
And that's what I've been wondering the whole time.
right. But wise words from Mr. Swami, man. Thank you for being on the show, bro. Go ahead, shout out any places we can find you and your music anywhere out there.
Oh, hell yeah. So shout out swamisden.com. You can get shirts. You can get the album. You can get a USB card with the album and 5 songs that I took off of Spotify, remixed and remastered because I cared that much. I had people tell me they really liked the music, but the mix sucked. And that's the thing I needed to hear. Push the envelope, man. That was my goal. And that's what I want people to feel when they listen to my music, is that, a sense of empowerment, a sense of being able to push the envelope, challenge what's out there. And even if you don't like me, fuck it. I'm making music and I'm helping people do that too.
There you go. Midnight Swami, everybody. Thank you again, brother, for being on the show. Appreciate you.
You too.
Riding so long.